This video is about my experience in San Jose, in Santa Clara County, growing up. Keep in mind that they're changing my voice. For those of you who are younger, I'm a lot cooler than you might think I am. I'm arguably the coolest person that ever lived. Pay close attention and you'll see why. Okay, all cockiness aside. So, part of why I just said that is I'm 42 years old. Okay, and a lot of you might think I'm a cheesy old guy. When I was younger, I was like, I don't want to be one of those older guys who is just boring, right? So as I was 20 or so, I didn't want to grow up to be some lame 40-year-old, right? Who doesn't know how to have a good time, who, doesn't want me around and what have you, right? It doesn't want anyone cool around, right? Okay. So I was born in San Jose. My story is very unique, and it will offer some unique and important insight and perspective into San Jose, right? What kind of people live there, what have you, okay? I'm unique and I have a unique life story, and I hung out with different people. I went to 5 or 6 different high schools, depending on how you count it, not just in the San Jose area, but, in California in general. And I really, really understand things much more than other people. In fact, I'm the son of 2 doctors. My father is a brain surgeon who came here penniless and worked his way up to being a brain surgeon. He came here penniless and as the story goes, homeless, but people kind of took him in and helped him out along the way. And he eventually, became a brain surgeon. Okay. Now, when I was born on the east side. Okay. I was born on the east side 42 years ago. Okay. And my father was working in that hospital. And he was in the emergency room, as the story goes, when I was born. So he was already a brain surgeon, mind you. So one could argue I was born into wealth, but it's not that simple, and this is a key part of the story. Pay close attention. This is not the story of some rich, arrogant prick, okay, sticking up his nose at the community. Nobody resents rich people more than I do, and no one ever will. We'll get to that, okay? No offense to anybody, but this is the situation. You have an opinion on it, please feel free to comment. I want you to comment. I want you to comment. If you don't like me, comment. Say something. Say anything. Okay. So the first place that I lived, if I'm not mistaken, was in Almaden, in an apartment right across the street from the 7-Eleven over there, okay, off Almaden Expressway, okay. That's not that fancy of an area. It's not rich at all, even though my dad was already a brain surgeon, okay, because he didn't have a strong network, right? He didn't, start buying a house right away and so on and so forth, okay. But the next place I lived was in Saratoga, and the house is now worth $5 million, swimming pool, stables, solar panels, just a massive, very nice house, right? The nicest house on the block. There's other rich people there, and it was the most expensive house on the block, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. And he had an orchard and so on and so forth. The government, and I know there's a lot of people in the government don't want me to say this, the government did not want my family to look good. They didn't want my family to be influential. In fact, they must have told my father to tread lightly. Okay, during the 80s, right? This was around the time the Black Panther Party was brought down. This is like a decade after Martin Luther King's assassinated in 1968. It's not very long after that, right? Okay, and a lot of these government operations were occurring right here in California, in Oakland, which is not very far away from San Jose, Saratoga, what have you. Okay, they did not want me to look good. They did not want me to date attractive women. When it comes to staying away from the white girls and the Jewish girls and any other race, really, they didn't want the brain surgeon's son to date them. I have a particular insight into San Jose that most people don't have. I understand that it is far, far more racist than other people do. In fact, a lot of people were arguing that, that it's one of the least racist places in the country. In some ways, that might very well be the case. But I assure you, It is a racist city historically, where the local social clubs, just like everywhere else in America, they work with the government to control who dates who. It was designed to a T to prevent the rise of uncontrolled opposition and to prevent human rights, etc. We look at the history of San Jose, people like Brooke Hart, the Hart family is probably what Bret Hart is named after. It is clear that these people were just as rowdy as the South. I mean, people got lynched in San Jose, okay? This one famous incident over Brooke Hart, they were lynched. Now, they were white, but that shows you they had that same mentality. If you look at the stories, it's very cultic, okay? Now, that's a story for another day, okay? But that's key in this story. The community did not come together to help my family establish itself, to help it do business. It did not want none of that, right? They wanted to keep us down. Now, a lot of people were friendly. They're saying, hey, isn't your dad a brain surgeon? There was that. Great, lovely, lip service, right? But in terms of actual heart, their hearts, unless my dad helped them out, and there's a lot of nice people, mind you, don't get me wrong, their hearts weren't with us. Their hearts were with the devil, okay? And the devil in his subtle forms, and also the devil in his obvious forms. In a nutshell, people did not want me around in San Jose, though my dad gave away $300,000 in free service every year, and it also prevented us from being that rich. He eventually gets a humanitarian award, so on and so forth, top doctor awards, all this stuff, right? People singing his praises. But they don't like the thought of a black man being established here. Now, of course, there's a large Asian community here. There's a large Hispanic community. Okay, there's a relatively smaller white community. I think it's only 30% white. It's like 30% Hispanic, 30% Asian plus, and maybe 2% black. Okay, and that factored into me being shunned by females almost entirely. Unless the government, literally any female I dated was anywhere near attractive, was someone that the government had directed to date me. I remember I was at the mall one time, seeing one Hispanic gentleman, he's a thug or something, wearing all red, right? There's a north-south thing going on, so on and so forth. And he was like, there's haters everywhere. You got to shake these haters off. I think if I remember correctly, he looked at me, he's like, homie, I know how you feel. You got to shake these haters. He was just kind of talking to everybody, right? And I'm like, that's it. It's a lot of people agree with me, believe it or not. Not everyone here is like, kumbaya, my friend. Okay, they know there's haters. There's people who don't want you to date their daughter for no matter what you did in life, for petty ass racist reasons. There's haters, right? There's social barriers. There's social conflicts. Okay? There when I was younger, there was racial conflicts in the schools, but it wasn't like a major thing. But there was, people kind of grouped together based on ethnic themed gangs, and they clash sometime. I mean, it isn't all love and joy in San Jose and in Santa Clara County. Okay, a lot of the black people in the area, they agree. They say, Sunnyvale doesn't want us around. I mean, you got to understand the situation here. Race-themed social clubs and corporations dominate society. And you could be in, San Jose was 10 times less racist. It still would be racist as hell, because it's that scientific racism. It's that calculated racism. It's, just because they do a pretty good job in making it seem like it's not racist doesn't mean it's not. Okay? You think the city, upheld my dad to the highest degree and, he's getting all kinds of money and so on and so forth? No, they gave him awards in a way that kept him from being too famous. Okay, they kept him from being able to translate that into social power to actually change this country, which is something that he should have been able to do. For all intents and purposes, he's the most righteous brain surgeon that ever lived. So why don't you people know, if someone to comment this video, but it's probably going to be suppressed, but if you stumble upon it, how come you don't know who it is? How come you know who I am? With my top martial arts challenge that proves I'm the top martial artist that ever lived, and I've done something that can never be surpassed in a tech breeding and ill-gotten gains, how come you don't know who I am? Because it's a racist world, and this is a racist county.